Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Pacific Time. Always here to talk about professional wrestling. So hope you guys had a great week. It is Friday. So it's all over. You got the weekend ahead of you. Hope you guys are having, hope you guys have a great, fun, safe, amazing plans with you and your loved ones, friends, family, acquaintances, coworkers, whatever. Just, make the best of the time you got. Basically, is the moral of the story here. Thank you so much for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today on tap. We're going to talk about WWE Smackdown. We're going to preview the episode tonight. We're also going to have my Thursday Night Wrestling review, stepping into the world of Ring of Honor and also the ring of total non-stop action. They both had episodes yesterday, so we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about my WWE Smackdown predictions. Then we're going to talk about WWE possibly working with AEW. It's still up in the air, but it's kind of like 85%, 15% no, which is, kind of crazy to me. But we'll get into that. But in our fifth and final segment, like I do every Friday, I'm going to give you guys my wrestling news roundup. Just give you some wrestling news to think about over the weekend. Talk amongst your friends and family or your other wrestling fans. So yeah, let's do it. But before we get into any of that, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Give me a shout out of where you're listening from. Remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Also follow the show as well as the network, GSMC Sports Network, for more wrestling content. Or we also have other sports podcasts as well if you want to check those out. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do believe in peace, love, and positivity. So remember to always leave a peaceful, always leave a positive comment, 1,010%. It's greatly appreciated. Anything is greatly appreciated. Just more or less, I just, having someone to chat with is, pretty badass, to be honest. The best thing about this podcast is when there's a lot of audience engagement, because then it's just me kind of rambling on and on and on and on and on and on. And it's just, I'm like, oh, shoot. But, mate, don't be afraid to be a part of the show, 1,010%. Your opinions will be heard, your voice will be heard, and greatly appreciated. And once again, the link is at the GSMC podcast.net. All right, so we have our WWE Smackdown preview. Tonight is the winner go home show, which is how they like to call it, basically the show before the shows. This is the last WWE Smackdown before WWE Summerslam on Saturday. Obviously, let's start with Logan Paul. Logan Paul is home right now. Cleveland, Ohio. He says he's going to have family. He says he's going to have friends at this event. So, a pretty big deal. You're probably going to see a lot of them tonight at the stadium here. So, no, I don't think they're at the stadium. I think they're at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, to be honest. So, which is pretty cool. I think that's where the Cavs play. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, no, it should be pretty badass. So what can we expect tonight in terms of the LA Knight and also Logan Paul moving forward? I honestly think Logan Paul got the best of the LA Knight last week. This week, I feel like the LA Knight has to respond, but they're in Logan's hometown, so it's going to be a little hard to kind of choose in terms of what's going to happen and stuff like that. And also, Tiffany Stratton still has the Money in the Bank briefcase. A lot of people are still doubting if she'll cash in or not. I think she will. I think she will 1,010%. So close to SummerSlam, maybe. You have a hellacious match set up for Bayley. Bayley is going to fight Nia Jax at SummerSlam. A lot of people said there'd be speculations on Tiffany Stratton cashing in tonight and then facing Nia Jax at SummerSlam. But I'm not going to go too crazy with that conspiracy theory, to be honest. Definitely a lot on the line right now for the WWE Women's Champion Bayley. You have to watch your back, especially within these next 48 hours. So, hey, good luck, 1,010%, a lot of people say this is a highly forgettable title run for Bayley. And, it's not her fault. You know what I mean? Like, it's You had Bianca Belair, you also had Jade Cargill, join forces. It's a tag team. They were the women's world tag team champions. If if they would have faced Bayley like Bianca Belair kind of hinted at facing Bayley, and then Bayley retains, maybe this title run would have been a little bit more, like in your face, like more prestigious, I guess you can say. Or if she picks up a victory against Jade Cargill, that would be 1,010%, really good for Bayley's career. But yeah, tonight we're gonna find out, who has who's ready to carry on this responsibility that is the WWE Women's Championship. So next we have Alba, Fyre, and Isla Dawn. Speaking of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, will fight tonight for the WWE World Tag Team Championships. Should be pretty cool. Should be pretty interesting. I think Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn are going to retain. They retained their matches. They defeated Miss Jackson at Last Legend at week 1 of NXT Great American Bash. But is this the perfect time to kind of drive a wedge between Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill? This is their last, this is the rematch clause. I I definitely think in the future these girls will go head to head with each other. Would be interesting to see if something happens tonight, something falls out tonight when maybe they're like, oh, let's just have a friendly competition match inside the ring, find out who's better than who. Tomorrow night on SummerSlam. I feel like, just to add a couple more matches, because last SummerSlam there was 9 matches. This SummerSlam there's only 7. So I don't know. I think that's a pretty good idea. I think that would really excite the fans, really get the WWE universe, going in terms of that. And it would show like whoever wins, is definitely the number 1 contender for either, Nia Jax, or if Bayley retains. It'd be kind of cool to kind of see, Nick Aldis do something in that matter. Next, we have D.I.Y, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano take on the Bloodline for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Uh, I, hmm, if they win tonight, I feel like that's going to be huge. I feel like it's going to be huge because leading up to November, which is essentially 2 months away, trying to build up the War Games match at Survivor Series, this new Bloodline versus old Bloodline. If the tag team titles are won tonight by Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, it would kind of leave more of an open idea, or more, no, that's not the right wording, more of unpredictable nature that could become of the WWE Undisputed Championship match between Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa. I think that would definitely help Solo's case 1,010%. It'd get people to be like, okay, now the bloodline's taking all the gold again. And but if they lose tonight, which I kind of hope they do, to be honest. You've had D.I.Y, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano. They bounced inside of NXT, back to the main roster, and then back down. Then they had a feud with each other where they beat the crap out of each other. Then they ultimately, joined forces again to become a dominant tag team on NXT. Then they make it back to the main roster to win the tag team titles, to defeat Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Just to lose against the Bloodline, it seems so. It seems like a lot. It seems like a lot to ask for. Definitely 1,010%. With D.I.Y holding the championships, I think there's not much of a stronghold that WWE and the Bloodline would kind of have, because if they win the titles, the Bloodline's going to be dominant again. And who's going to be able to defeat the most impressive superstar that's debuted in like forever, Jacob Fatu, and then Tama Tonga and Tongaloa have been, pretty damn impressive in itself. Should be, I can't put my finger on it. I have WWE Smackdown taped. It's airing right now on the West Coast. I know it already aired on the East Coast. So I don't know. It should be. I'm 1,010% looking forward to it. Lastly, we have Solo Sikoa going face to face with Cody Rhodes. Will Cody Rhodes have backup tonight? Maybe. Randy Orton comes back, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens had been kind of out for 2 weeks. Randy Orton's been out for about 3. Cody Rhodes needs that extra person. This match at SummerSlam, and we'll get into that a little later. I feel like it's kind of going to be not exactly like the WrestleMania 40 match, because you can't, mimic 2 matches like that. That would just be absurd. But Solo Sikoa is going to have some company. And Kevin Owens is going to watch the back. Randy Orton's going to watch the back. They need one more superstar, which makes me think, that's when Roman pops in. But all in all, it's going to be a huge SmackDown tonight. Obviously, we also have more things heading toward with Michin, Nia Jax, and Tiffany Stratton, and also Santos Escobar. We also have Legado del Fantasma. Probably getting some bookings, maybe something with Chelsea Green. Perhaps what to expect from SmackDown. It's win or go home tonight. We're at Cleveland, Ohio. So yeah, honestly, it's kind of up in the air, which is the best kind of wrestling. All right, now we're going to move on to my Thursday wrestling roundup. We're going to talk about TNA. We're going to talk about Ring of Honor when we come back. So hey, stay tuned.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Here to talk about all things professional wrestling, all the action inside and out, superstar news, updates, contract status, also, injuries and stuff like that. We talk about it here in professional wrestling, from AEW to WWE, Ring of Honor, TNA, New Japan Professional Wrestling, the MLW, here and there, the NWA here and there. So, if it's something big that happens in wrestling, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it here. So, just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We talked about our WWE Smackdown preview tonight in Cleveland, Ohio. The win or go home showing. But, let's talk about my Thursday wrestling review. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like in terms of, this podcast. Criticism, feedback is a gift. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love the philosophy of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. So if you're going to criticize me, do it positive. You know what I mean? 1,010%. Also, Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network at the GSMC Sports Network for more wrestling content or for sports content. We also have a basketball podcast, football, baseball, you name it. It's all on the GSMC Sports Network, 1,010%. Don't be afraid to be part of the show. Obviously, anything, absolutely anything will be greatly appreciated. So the link is at the gsmcpodcast.net. Just want to hear you guys' voice. Want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. But all right. This week's Ring of Honor Honor Club, comes from the Esports Arena in Arlington, Texas. It's a follow-up from the Friday's buzzworthy Death Before Dishonor special. It was pretty good. All in all, I thought it was a really good, thought it was all in all a really good pay-per-view for Death Before Dishonor, Ring of Honor. So, all right, let's get into it. First, we're going to start off. We have the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Champions Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs, Ross, and Marshall, defeated Jack Jameson and the Iron Savages, Bronson and Boulder. I think they look good. I think, Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs seems like they, I know Dustin's kind of been flirting with retirement and, still has a lot to give inside of the ring. Growing up, I remember, watching Goldust and stuff like that, which was completely badass. And then he teamed up with Stardust, which I thought was really badass. And then the two never really, they had a couple of tag team title runs. Both of them had their separate Intercontinental Championship runs. I think Goldust was a European champion as well in the WWF/WWE. But no, it's, when you think about the Von Erichs, you think about the movie Iron Claw. And I remember watching that, I was like, dude, whatever happened to these, what happened to these dudes, man? Like, like Cody Rhodes' song says, wrestling has more than one royal family. The Inoue family, the Maiavillas, also the Fatus. And we also have, the McMahons. Who else has the Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, Dusty Rhodes, Cody Rhodes? And then we have the Von Erichs as well. Randy Orton and his father, Cowboy Bob Orton, second generation superstar. I know I'm missing another one, but I can't hit the nail on the head. The Steiner brothers. We have Braun Breaker. His father is Rick Steiner, Uncle Scott. I'm trying to think of who else is part of I'm gonna randomly remember and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot them. The Harts. We have Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Jim the Nambell Hart, all family. Then later on, Natalia, then Tyson Kidd by marriage. You're on the Hart Foundation, bro. Sorry. So, when it comes to family and stuff like that, I kind of like it in terms of professional wrestling and stuff like that. So yeah, Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes wants to retire on his own time, which is 1,010% exactly what you should do. Especially if you're a professional wrestler, if you're made to entertain the crowd, then I think after all the pain and the suffering you put your body through in terms of professional wrestling, you kind of owe it to yourself to you can go out on your own note here. 1,010%. I stand by that statement. All right, so after the match, you saw a promo by Mark Briscoe. He cut a promo with this baby. That's with the baby, not the baby. Congratulating Roderick Strong on their match at Death Before Dishonor. It was a hell of a match, but Briscoe is still the champion, and that's what matters. And he's fought 2 back-to-back hellacious matches. Excuse me. Kyle Fletcher, hot superstar, was, I believe, before he lost to Mark Briscoe. And no, before he lost to Atlantis Jr., the new Ring of Honor television champion. I think I read an article saying that the last match he lost was in November of 2022. So that's pretty damn good there. Obviously, whenever a father brings their baby to the press conference or the show, kind of reminds me of in the NBA, like Steph Curry, you sit down, you have your kids, and it just looks nice. It looks great, to be honest. The newest member of the conglomeration, Mark Briscoe's baby. I thought that was pretty badass. Top Flight, Deontay and Darius with Layla Gray defeated Ace of Space Academy, LSG and JKM. Thought it was pretty, I thought it was awesome. I liked, Top Flight has been a prominent tag team inside of Ring of Honor for for the longest time. Then you saw the infantry cut a promo wondering why they aren't getting the opportunities that most of the other teams are at Ring of Honor. And, I get it. But in terms of professional wrestling, I like the infantry 1,010%. I know I think you know, they served in the military. I believe they did. I'm like 75% sure they did. So, salute to them 1,010%. Obviously, keeping us safe. So, Top Flight, I think, is slightly above the infantry, although the infantry has not had that much recent success, much like what's the other tag team that's kind of been, altering. I know Cage of Agony's kind of been, hit or miss. On AEW Private Party, I haven't really seen them being really that prominent in terms of professional wrestling in a long time. In a long time. Who's that other tag team that I was gonna talk about? Oh man. I can't think of it right now. But so we're gonna move on. We have Robyn Renegade defeating Maya World. Both Renegade and World have recently enjoyed some ring time inside Ring of Honor, taking on some of the heavy hitters of the women's division. Hopefully, the winner of this match will get a little closer, to that upper echelon of maybe even a title shot. Something that I was kind of, thinking about right away. Obviously, I kind of knew Robyn Renegade was going to come out the victor here. She's been, absolutely on fire, 1,010% on fire. So, yeah. The Beast Mortos continues his not enthusiasm, oh my God, his momentum. I can't think of words today. It's crazy. The Beast Mortos continues his momentum, defeating AR Fox. The Beast Mortos has, he's competed in the Royal Rampage, in AEW Rampage last Friday. Spent 20 minutes throwing Commander at the ground at Death Before Dishonor. Fought Hologram at AEW Collision. Then he took on the Conglomeration last night at AEW. No, on Wednesday, Dynamite. Then he saw him win a match today. So he's doing good, man. He's definitely, he's leveling up. He's killing it. So definitely the MXM collection reminded the world how, basically, we're coming to Ring of Honor. We're going to, Mansoor, the winner of the, I think, didn't he win the greatest Royal Rumble? No, wait. Maybe. I think he might have won a match in Saudi Arabia. And I was like, all right, we all, kind of nepotism there. Wheeler Yuta defeated Anthony Henley, something that Yuta really needed. One of the members of the Blackpool Combat Club. He lost his Ring of Honor Pure Championship to Lee Manuri in a fantastic match. Henry couldn't keep it together. Yuta is back in the win column. No doubt in my mind, maybe he can, he cut a promo, letting Ring of Honor know that the Tiger Style is here to stay. So, no, wait, no, that was Lee Majority. Lee Majority said that. So, but honestly, Yuta, he's a great superstar. An amazing superstar, to be honest. I kind of, talked about how since Jon Moxley's kind of on some leave in terms of AEW, you have Bryan Danielson flirting with retirement. He's kind of there with Claudio Castagnoli, the last two of the Blackpool Combat Club. Really hope the club doesn't really go anywhere. I want to see Jon Moxley back into an AEW ring. Last time he saw him, he lost. He lost that Forbidden Door to Naito for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. So, definitely hope he comes back soon. We got the premier athletes and, Aria Davari and Tony Nese defeated the superstars, Nikki Aida and Tommy Mars. We had Fuego de Sol defeat Jacoby Watts and Nick Comoroto. We also saw Brian Cage get into the win column as well, start his momentum back up, defeating Rocco Romero. So all in all, a pretty good episode of, Ring of Honor. All right, so let's now move on to TNA Impact Wrestling. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. The Rascals defeated Speedball Mountain. Kind of sucks because I love Speedball Mountain. But I love the Rascals too. You can really, you notice it on NXT when you're watching Wesley kind of be, when he's kind of doing his thing, Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel has lit a fire under him. He's a whole different superstar. He's not that same superstar that he's been, in like forever. Obviously, he lost his match to Obafemi, his last chance at the NXT North American Championship, because now he cannot challenge as long as, Obafemi is the champion. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Next, we had a video package play with Jordynne Grace putting over Ash by Elegance. After their match at Slammiversary, Grace says she will defend her title in another open challenge next week. Who will it be? That's the question that is always on TNA fans' mind. Well, now on NXT members' minds. How it could be anybody now. It could be somebody from NXT trying to make a name for themselves. Jordynne Grace has literally defeated all the women, all the knockouts on TNA. So I don't know. My best bet would probably be an NXT superstar. Maybe Stephanie Vacour, maybe. That'd be pretty crazy. Maybe Julia, maybe. I'm just kidding, no. Maybe. Next we have Rosemary defeating Kristara. Rosemary hits Kristara with the as above, so below the score for the pinfall. We kind of knew that she was gonna get the victory there. The System are backstage and they call themselves the Dream Team of Professional Wrestling. Eddie Edwards says it's time for the System to reboot. Moose says they won't rest until they wreak havoc on TNA Wrestling once again. Mike Santana was backstage and says that Slammiversary, we started seeing the cracks in the system and there's a lot of unfinished business there. Camping Singh interrupts and challenges him to a match later. In the match, Santana says he'll go talk to Santino to make it happen. Frankie Kazarian defeats Ryan Nemeth, which kind of sucks. Josh Alexander comes out after the match and hits Ryan Nemeth with a C4 spike. There was speculation saying that Josh Alexander was supposed to win that six-man elimination match at Slammiversary, but something happened where Nic Nemeth became overall the winner. So, that was kind of interesting to read. Jody Threat with Danny Luna defeated Masha Slamovich with Alicia Edwards. It was kind of cool. Definitely love Spitfire. They're a great tag team. Didn't want them to break up. Happy that they're still, around. A video package plays for Joe Hendry, who thanks the fans for believing in him to get where he is now in his career. So you got to love Joe Hendry. You just got to believe in Joe Hendry. Mike Santana defeats Campaign Singh. Mike Santana hits Campaign Singh with the spin the block to score the victory. Mike Santana is also building up momentum. Nic Nemeth defeats Mustafa Ali to retain the TNA World Championship. Pretty awesome. I love that. After the match, Josh Alexander stands on the stage and stares down Nic Nemeth before returning to the backstage area. PCO and Steph D. Lander, their marriage was interrupted by Matt Cardona. Kind of knew something was going to happen whenever, he returns with a gift. And, it was a cinder block and a gift wrapping. And it's just, I don't know. It just seemed kind of crazy. Cardona leaves and screams about Steph is supposed to be with him. DeLander holds PCO and cries as TNA Impact goes off the air. Wow, classic drama, classic wrestling wedding drama. That's how it always goes down, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys. Well, hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to talk about my WWE Summerslam predictions. So, hey, grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite drink, and join me in about 20 seconds.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, Now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about all things professional wrestling, all the action inside and out. Also, superstar news, updates, injury status, contract obligations, and the negotiations and stuff like that. We talk about it here. It's part of the wrestling news. If from WWE to AEW to the MLW to Stardom to the NWA, if it's something big that happens, it's going to be talked about on the show. So 1,010%. If you're if you're starting to become a wrestling fan, this is probably one of the best shows to start off on. 1,010%. All right, so just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We had our WWE Smackdown preview. We had my Thursday Night Wrestling review. We talked about TNA and also Ring of Honor Super Club or Honor Club 75. And now we're going to talk about WWE Summerslam. My predictions, what's going to happen, who's going to win, and is it all going to make sense one day? So remember, you could become a part of the show. Send a chat. Hit up the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net. Anything's greatly appreciated, but mostly just want to hear what you guys have to say about professional wrestling. Want to hear what you guys have to say about WWE SummerSlam. Give me some of your predictions, storylines, and whatnot. Remember, Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Also follow the show, follow the network. We have a bunch of wrestling content. So be a part of the show. Once again, the link is at gsmcpodcast.net. Okay, so let's go ahead and put up our little graphic here. All right, so we have WWE SummerSlam in Cleveland, Ohio, airing tomorrow. God, I can't wait. It is going to be it's going to be electric. It's going to be absolutely awesome. All right, first match we're going to talk about is the Intercontinental Championship match. We have the defending champion, Sami Zayn, against the challenger, Braun Breaker. Rick Steiner is supposed to be at SummerSlam along with Kane. I'm not sure how much that really matters, but it could. Watching your son win his major title in WWE would be pretty awesome. I think 1,010%. When it comes to that kind of stuff, I would love. I love that. I love that. Family. Like Cody Rhodes says. His song says, wrestling has more than one royal family. All right, but anyways, right now Braun Breaker has been absolutely dominant. I feel like this could probably go one of two ways. If Braun Breaker loses, he's going to lose because of his rage, and he's going to lose because some of the bridges that he's burned in the past with Ilya Dragunov. Also, maybe Ricochet makes his return. He's been off WWE for quite some time. Not really any news in terms of his contract. If they kind of structured a new one. There's also speculations that Ricochet will debut in AEW at All In, but I'm not too sure about that. That is going way off the spectrum in terms of conspiracy theories. But Sami Zayn, he's been a great champion. I was kind of talking about this yesterday, and he's been a hard fighting champion, very, very successful. He deserved it, 1,010%. He really honestly deserved it. His name's going to be in the record books because he dethroned Gunther's historic 666-day reign as the WWE Intercontinental Champion. So I think Sami Zayn, if he loses, you really have no reason to hang your head low. You had a great title run, to be honest. And that's what makes me think that. I'm like, okay, maybe they're going to give Braun Breaker the win here. It would, it seems like it would make a lot of sense. It would drive the Intercontinental Championship into new heights and new directions. It would be. I think it would make the title big and make it bigger. Kind of what reminded me of like if Brock Lesnar won the Intercontinental Championship. And I'm not trying to throw smoke, or I'm not trying to blow gas up Braun Breaker or anything like that. But he's a phenomenal superstar. He's a great wrestler. He's proved himself in WWE NXT. He's done nothing but have wows and oohs and ahs, and made such an impact on the WWE Raw roster. So if anybody deserves an Intercontinental Championship run that would totally just reset Monday Night Raw, probably be Braun Breaker. 1,010%. It would be. I think Braun Breaker is going to win this match. My prediction is Braun Breaker. Next, we have the United States Championship match. We have home field advantage. Hometown boy Logan Paul. We're defending his United States Championship against the megastar, LA 9. God. This is so hard to choose because I know why they would put the belt on LA Knight. Logan Paul has had the belt since November, only defended it twice. And that's nothing on Logan Paul. That's not an indictment on his title reign at all. He and himself actually opened up on social media and said, kind of tagged WWE and said, honestly, why isn't this title defended more? It would add prestige to the title to kind of have it defended regularly. But, it's being defended tonight or tomorrow night. And it's so up in the air. I don't know. He's going to have friends and family there. The LA Knight could propel his career with this championship win. After this, then he has to start from the bottom again, trying to climb his way up to either fight, for the WWE Undisputed Championship, which I feel like he's not ready yet, or he hasn't really been in the spot where he could prove that he was ready. He did almost win the King of the Ring, so, give kudos to that. I think he got eliminated in the semifinals. But I think Logan Paul is going to retain. I'm sorry. That's my prediction. I think Logan Paul is going to retain. He's going to retain the United States Championship in his hometown. He's going to win with some help. Maybe that KS1, I think that's his name, KS1 guy comes out, his prime friend or whatever. Maybe maybe his brother. That would be electric. I don't know what, the status is in terms of his fight with Mike Tyson. But if Jake Paul helps Logan Paul retain his championship, that would be pretty big. That would be pretty awesome. Just kind of see the the Paul brothers kind of in WWE. But right now, I feel like you got to give it to Logan Paul here. Will retain his championship. WWE World Championship, Liv Morgan taking on Rhea Ripley. Obviously, Mommy is home. Liv Morgan fighting for her life. It's crazy. It's, this whole thing about Dominic Mysterio. Dominic, you saw in the promo out on Raw where she called Dominic Mysterio Rhea Ripley's little B word. It rhymes with witch. And then you saw Finn Balor's face not being X'd out. A lot of speculations is, kind of thinking that Finn Balor will ultimately help Liv Morgan eventually. But I feel like right now, it might be a little too early to break up the Judgment Day. But right now, you could probably start the direction of it going toward absolute crap, which it's kind of been heading toward for about a month or two. So Dominic Mysterio probably worries me the most. I thought, being brutally honest, I thought that he was going to overall said that, hey, I want to be in control. I'm no one's little B. I'm yours, but, she's mine or something like that. Dominic Mysterio siding with Liv Morgan. Maybe you see, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest both kicked out of the Judgment Day by night's end at SummerSlam. It should be interesting. This match in particular, there's no way that Liv Morgan's going to win without interference or help. And there's no way that Rhea Ripley's going to get the title back so soon. When she's had the title, she was absolutely dominant. 1,010% dominant. Nobody could really beat her. You would have to have somebody like a Becky Lynch. You would have to have somebody like Charlotte Flair come back to try to beat her. She's, and when Rhea Ripley wins, it's kind of like that Brock Lesnar effect on the title. It absolutely becomes really big because Rhea Ripley's Rhea Ripley. She's an amazing talent. She's big, she's bad, she's scary, she's successful, she's physical. not really the person to be like, oh, she's going to lose that match, or, nobody on the Raw roster could really touch Rhea Ripley. But yeah, they could book for more realistic matches for the WWE World Women's Championship if Liv Morgan is the title holder. I believe that 1,010%. So right now, I'm 50-50 here. I'm 50-50, 1,010%. If Liv Morgan wins, the crap's going to hit the fan. If Rhea Ripley wins, I feel like WWE will kind of be, not like predictable, but I don't know. I feel like you would develop more storylines if Liv Morgan gets the victory here. Next, we have WWE Women's Championship match between Bayley and Nia Jax. I already kind of gave you guys my, my feedback, my thoughts about this match for like months now. I think that Bayley will lose the match at against Nia Jax. And then I feel like a couple of storylines will open up. One, Tiffany Stratton has the case, and she vows to Nia Jax, which she did last week on SmackDown, that she would not cash in on her. She can never cash in on her friend, and then end up doing it. I really don't see her going to Raw and cashing in. I, wouldn't see her well on the Raw roster. Or Bayley wins, and then Bayley's so exhausted from the match. You have Tiffany Stratton cash in her Money in the Bank. I believe 1,010% that Tiffany Stratton should cash in her Money in the Bank. The men's Money in the Bank is gone, 1,010%. And now I feel like, that was more or less just for WWE creative. And I think for the women's creative, you should have the women's Money in the Bank on as well. Just so you can start planning some stuff as well without the lingering Money in the Bank briefcase kind of threat here. So it should be interesting. I'm 50-50 with this one as well. I am. Because both of these women winning, it would make for great storylines. Obviously, if Bayley wins, then Tiffany Stratton cashes in, becomes a new champion. Nia Jax is kind of like the muscle, kind of like the Diesel to Shawn Michaels in terms of that. So I don't know, I feel like that'd be pretty cool. All right, we have the World Heavyweight Championship, Damian Priest taking on Gunther. This match, I feel like I think Damian Priest will retain here. This is Gunther's shot for he defeated Randy Orton in the King of the Ring. Wasn't really cleanly, or wasn't really right, to be honest. But Gunther has a great chance. He's a great in-ring competitor, puts on great matches. He could overall put Damian Priest over as a major babyface to represent the title in terms of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And, kind of set new heights to Damian Priest. And once with Damian Priest, once when he's kind of becomes more than the Judgment Day, he's going to need kind of that credibility, kind of like that confidence he would have defeating the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. Next, we have the undisputed WWE Championship match between Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa. I believe Cody Rhodes is going to retain. I think it would be absolutely stupid to have Solo Sikoa win the belt so soon, so damn soon. That would just be terrible. I honestly, if he wins, it would be interesting in terms of the whole Roman Reigns thing. But that could also take a different direction without the title belt. But Cody Rhodes is going to win. Roman Reigns will return at WWE Summerslam just to shock the world, just to distract Solo Sikoa for Cody Rhodes to hit that crossroads and get the 1, 2, 3. Lastly, we have CM Punk against Drew McIntyre. Special guest referee will be Seth Rollins. I think this match is going to end with Drew McIntyre's hands getting raised. There's been speculations and rumors that I kind of talked about yesterday about Seth Rollins turning heel, accidentally hitting CM Punk, maybe, going after Drew McIntyre. That's happened to WWE in the past with Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, and I think it was The Undertaker. I'm not too sure. But, that could definitely be, when it comes to special guest referee matches, there's always just something wonky something goofy that kind of happens. And, obviously what happened at Money in the Bank was pretty rough for Drew McIntyre to kind of get over. But I don't know. Overall, I think, you will see Seth Rollins and CM Punk, because that was the original rivalry. That was the original thing that was supposed to happen. But, of course, injury and stuff like that, some things just don't work out the way it does. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to talk real quick about will WWE ever work with AEW? We're going to talk about that when we return. So, hey, stay tuned.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right. And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to talk about all things professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, superstar, news, rumors, promotional rumors, WWE, AEW, you name it. I just going to reflect on what we talked about right quick. We talked about our WWE Smackdown preview. We talked about my Thursday Night Wrestling review. We stepped into the ring of TNA Impact and the world of Ring of Honor. And then we recently talked about my Summerslam predictions. Who's going to win the titles here? It looks like a pretty juicy match card. SummerSlam taking place in Cleveland, Ohio, Cleveland Brown Stadium on Saturday. So it should be pretty dope. But we're going to talk about, will WWE ever give AEW a chance to work with them? Honestly, it's right now, like what I mentioned before, it's kind of like 85-15%, like a huge no. But for the first time since 2001, you kind of have two wrestling corporations that that are kind of going not head to head, so to speak, but you kind of giving somebody a run for their money. Kind of like, alongside the support from the co-founders, Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, Jacksonville Jaguars owner Tony Khan launched All Elite Wrestling in 2019. And I think they're doing really, really well. They have a major television deal, strong crowd, an amazing presence on social media, top free agent acquisitions. Its strongest year was in 2021. Of course, that's when they had CM Punk along with Cody Rhodes and stuff like that. They've had some pretty good ratings for being in such a small wrestling promotion. Turner Television, once again, putting their chips all in with All Elite Wrestling and Tony Khan. And I think it's panned out. Honestly, I think it's panned out 1,010%. And, unlike, back in 2001 with WCW, it was on cable network. Not a lot of people probably could afford cable. I definitely couldn't afford, cable and stuff like that. As soon as I did, of course, I watched Nitro and like Thunder and Raw. But now social media just makes it so much easier. Now you can just pay for a subscription for Peacock and get wrestling pay-per-views that you usually pay like $50 to like $90 worth. I remember buying the Royal Rumble in 2006, and I think I paid like $70. It was a lot. My mom was pissed, but she knew I liked it. She knew I was a huge wrestling fan, so definitely, kudos to her. Thank you, Ma. But something that All Elite Wrestling should never really hang their head low about is that WWE has been along since the 80s. WWF. They have a way bigger fan base, had more chances to kind of appeal to different generations of fans, as opposed to AEW. AEW right now was kind of riding on that, demographic of, I would say probably late 20s, early 50s. No, late 20s, mid 40s, because they do have adult content. Where, girls, they're doing their thing. They're swearing. Tony Schiavone's calling Mariah May the B word, which was funny as hell, which was absolutely awesome. I thought that was pretty cool. You got blood, so much blood in so many matches. You have the Anarchy in the Ring match, Darby Allin lighting people on fire. It's great. I love AEW. It's definitely a new twist and turns, but a lot of speculation surrounded AEW, especially when Tony Khan was open about it. Tony Khan does at times, he called WWE the Harvey Weinstein of the wrestling industry, but that's just that's just talking smack. That's just, talking smack about your enemies, which, overall, it heightens up the crowd. Gets the crowd interested, gets them into this wrestling battle, like promotional battle, a war, the new Monday Night War, which I don't think it is. It will never be the Monday Night War. I know Eric Bischoff gives a lot of hate to Tony Khan and AEW because people always, 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 always compare it to WCW, and it'll never be the same. It never is the same. And AEW, why would you even want to be like WCW, dude? Recently, you saw Shane McMahon meet up with Tony Khan. Shane McMahon said he took the meeting with Tony Khan, basically saying that he's, wanted to talk, congratulated him on his business being successful since 2019. That's huge. They survived the pandemic. Any small business or any business that survived the pandemic is, looking pretty good. 1,010%. Shane McMahon went to WWE first, was ultimately torn down because Shane McMahon ultimately wanted to step back into the ring. But after you saw at WrestleMania 39, where he attempted to do a move, he had a booking with The Miz and Snoop Dogg, where he ultimately jumped up, tore his ACL, I think it was. I don't know, something. It was crazy. It's like, oh, Shane, you know what? You're not really cut out for the ring. So Shane was like, all right, then screw you. I'm going to AEW. The talks of Shane McMahon possibly join AEW. Even Jim Ross said it. AEW needs Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon could definitely be, you see it with Chris Jericho on the learning tree. Chris Jericho, he's getting up there in age, but he's still able to put on some good matches. He's the leader of a faction where he could be like, kind of reminds me of like the Millionaires Club in terms of WCW. Not like WCW, but, would kind of give me that feel where Shane McMahon would ultimately kind of have a little stable in himself. Maybe he devises a team to take down the Elite. That would be actually a pretty good storyline, to be honest. Maybe AEW should hire me, dude. I'm just kidding, no. But no, I would love that. That'd be awesome. But, Chief Content Officer Triple H, he kind of, when he took over WWE, he knows about professional wrestling. He has has working relationships with the likes of TNA right now and pro wrestling, NOAH. And, it's been confirmed that WWE, wants to say that AEW, WWE future, they have no interest in doing it. And I don't know. I think that's stupid. I don't like that. So, Executive Vice WWE Executive Vice President and Talent Relations and Head of Communications Chris Legentle declared that WWE has no interest in working with AEW on a combined card. He said, and I quote, "I just want to make it clear, there's definitely a variety of excellent talent that don't currently reside in WWE. There is no shot that there is being fired," Legenta said. It's just to say the answer to your question is no. No conversation has to be had in relation to that. I don't know. It's crazy. And AEW president Tony Khan did not fully dismiss the idea of collaborating with WWE. Should the appropriate opportunity present itself, he said, and I quote, he said, if WWE came calling to you, no, he was asked if WWE came calling to you, not even necessarily a collaborative show, but just to share talent, share promotion, would you consider AEW to be open for business with WWE? Comicbook.com's Liam Crowley asked Tony Khan. And Khan answered, he said, it's an interesting thought. Khan responded, it would, depend on the circumstances. You got both promotions having huge, absolutely huge, PLEs happening. Obviously WWE with SummerSlam. AEW with, All In. You have Bryan Danielson putting his career on the line against, Swerve Strickland's AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Lastly, that I'll kind of, before we put this thing to bed. It just kind of sucks because if you were both a WCW fan and a WWE fan, like I said, I know AEW is not like WCW, but we wanted to see matches like Sting versus The Undertaker. We wanted to see matches like DDP taking on Triple H. We wanted to see Booker T take on Shawn Michaels. We wanted to see Goldberg take on, Stone Cold Steve Austin and stuff like that. They're just, the NWO taking on D-Generation X at a Forbidden Door pay-per-view. So, like, more of a modern day. Just imagine if you had Seth Rollins against Hangman Adam Page. Ooh, that'd be so cool. Oh my God. Kenny Omega taking on AJ Styles. That would be pretty damn awesome. That would be amazing. Maybe Roman Reigns, Jon Moxley, Seth Rollins comes back together to take down the Elite. But, we're not going to see stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like Cody Rhodes taking on Swerve Strickland would be pretty damn awesome. If I admit. Oh, God, it's Will Ospreay. Oh, Will Ospreay would he'd have such a great match against Seth Rollins. That would be an amazing match. Dream match, to be honest. But, it's never going to happen. Sorry, AEW fans. Sorry, WWE fans. It hurts me too. I absolutely hate it. I despise it. It's disgusting. But, it's maybe they'll wise up in the future. Hopefully they do. For the wrestling fans. All right, moving on to our fifth and final segment. Like every Friday, I leave you guys with something to ponder about. Over the weekend, we're going to talk about my wrestling news roundup. So, hey, do not go anywhere. All right, and we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here with all the cool wrestling factoids, 1,010%. All the actions inside and outside of the ring. But before we do absolutely any of that, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns about professional wrestling. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. But just kind of reflect on what we talked about. We had our WWF. Whew, talking too much about the past, man. Although WWF was lit. We talked about WWE Smackdown preview. We had my Thursday Night Wrestling review, stepping into the world of Ring of Honor, also the ring of TNA Impact. I also talked about my WWE Summerslam predictions. We talked about AEW will never, ever, ever get with WWE for Forbidden Door show. Sad but true. Do it for the wrestling fans. Do what's right. We should sign a petition. I'm just kidding. No. Anyways. Let's talk about some wrestling news roundup. I wish I could create my own music. That'd be dope. First and foremost, our major news story. We have Jinder Mahal reunites with the Singh brothers at a GCW event. Great to see him back inside the wrestling ring. Jinder Mahal is a hot free agent. I think, he's going to be a great pickup. Absolutely, anywhere he goes, at the GCW. That seems about fitting for Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal is a big guy, much like he did with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, they went from the 3-man band, went from promising young superstars, kind of trashed in terms of creative ideas and stuff like that. Then they came back as single stars. They worked, they came back absolute monsters. Jinder Mahal looks like, doesn't look like he has an ounce of fat on him. Drew McIntyre also came back more beefier, came back more dominant, more physical, more determined, more ruthless, aggression. But it's cool to see Jinder Mahal back into wrestling. 1,010%. There was no doubt in my mind that after his 90 days was up from the WWE, he couldn't be signed. He couldn't be signed by any wrestling promotion. I knew someone was going to pick him up. 1,010%. You could do so many storylines about Jinder Mahal. He's a great heel. He's this great presence inside the ring. He's not really that guy. He can just be like, oh, that guy is going to be easily beaten. So 1,010%, definitely proud of Jinder Mahal. So let's go ahead and move on. Got some stuff to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not really happy about it. And it irks my soul. Irks my soul, but I didn't mean to look at it. The Bloodline are the new WWE Tag Team Champions. Oh my God. Oh, here we go again. Oh my God. Oh, okay. So now, like what I talked about earlier, now it leaves this Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes thing wide open. Leaves it wide open. God, why did it have to pop up on my screen? Out of everything, why did it have to pop up on my screen? Totally sucks. Absolutely hate it. But, we have our new WWE Tag Team Champions, Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu. Hopefully when Tonga Loa becomes healthy, they'll give him the titles to defend, because that just seems more fair, to be honest. Jacob Fatu could take down 2 or 3 people by himself. It's not fair. It's not fair. Life's not fair, Eric. I'm sorry. All right, so tonight, Tiffany Stratton will get a new custom briefcase by Nia Jax. Nia Jax promised her a new briefcase last week on SmackDown. See, all this thing kind of got me all flustered, to be honest. So I don't know, kind of crazy, but why not? Why not? So also next story, we have spoilers that multiple NXT stars will be appearing at a TNA Impact tapings. Obviously, the No Quarter Catch crew is in the mix. You have Ash by Elegance will be obviously, well, she's already on. Kind of crazy. Gallus, Dante Chen, Wolfgang, and Singapore Star. Joe Kofi. That makes that kind of makes sense. Like, you kind of want things to get a little bigger. WWE NXT's Dante Chen showed up tonight on TNA Impact's taping in Tampa, Florida. That's pretty badass. I once again, NXT and TNA doing it right. Maybe they should let WWE and AEW they should teach them how you can, come together and just, play nice. Next, we have Stephanie Vaquer stuns with a gorgeous selfie drop. I've checked it out, and recently you had Samantha Irving, the ring announcer for WWE Raw, come out with a total bombshell, totally breaking the internet. I'm not going to show you guys here. Do your own research, go check it out yourself. A lot of people, what I want to talk about is that people are upset. People are highly upset because wrestling, and especially WWE, should definitely be like a family show. Kind of heading more toward a PG-13 approach when Raw hits on Netflix and SmackDown comes to the USA. And I remember Mandy Rose. She got popped. I think she had an OnlyFans. She had an OnlyFans where she was taking pictures like this. And she was ultimately canned. She was the WWE NXT Women's Champion. I think she was stripped of the title. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. And she was such a promising star. But then she got fired, man. Like, and then like, you have these girls, like Stephanie McGraw. I'm not like, obviously positive self, body image is awesome. Well, to all power to you. I think that's totally cool. And maybe it's, the media that's overly like kind of sexualizing it and stuff like that. But I don't know, I just think it's, I kind of think it's a, like a double standard a little bit. Like, I don't know. Mandy Rose was pretty, she was a great superstar. Then, she got caught taking pictures and stuff like that. And then, she got fired. So I don't know, I just think that was kind of, super crazy. Next we have the Hardy Boys had a meeting with WWE before SummerSlam weekend. This is another story that kind of gets me cringed because I honestly do not want the Hardy Boys back in WWE. I think they're perfect where they are in TNA. I know Jeff Hardy has recently said he's been growing tired of the new Hardy Boys theme song, of the old Hardy Boys theme song, excuse me. Maybe him, the Broken Matt Hardy, and Brother Nero make an NXT return. But I don't think they make it to the WWE main roster. They're too old. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. And me, I like watching nostalgia in terms of professional wrestling. I'm not against it. Not against it at all. But at the same time, like, Jeff Hardy was in and out of the WWE, but, was struggling with substance abuse. And then Matt Hardy seems like he has the most success when he's on any other brand besides WWE. But I don't know. It's crazy. Next, we have Braun Breaker addresses potentially working with Paul Heyman. Obviously, Paul Heyman, in terms of new talent, seems like, it's kind of fitting for Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker had this to say. He stated, and I quote, he said, "I would love that. I think Paul would love that. We'll just have to see one day." So, just that in itself, obviously, Braun Breaker, I kind of compared him to being Brock Lesnar. If he wins the Intercontinental Championship, you can bet that he's going to be like Brock Lesnar in the main event. So it's, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Next, we have, staying with Braun Breaker, we have Shawn Michaels saying Braun Breaker has all the tools for a Goldberg run. And you know what? I think 1,010%. I kind of don't like that. So we have this, and I quote, "He has all the tools to have a run like Goldberg or Steve Austin or Roman Reigns. He's as gifted as they come." That's true. 1,010%. That's true. The thing that impressed me the most about Braun Breaker was his ability to be coached. He trusted me. He trusted our process here. When you have special athletes, sometimes they think they understand or know the system because they've been great at everything else. He never came across as that way. Kind of shocking, right? The way he comes out in WWE, how he just seems like he's totally opposite of that. Pushing Adam Pearce around, spearing everything in his way. And he's actually a good guy. Why does this make me want to root for him at SummerSlam? I got to be honest. Why does this make me want to root for him, to be honest? But see, I just read the Goldberg run. Steve Austin, better. Roman Reigns, even better. I thought Shawn Michaels was just saying he has the tools to have a run like Goldberg. And I kind of think that's an insult. Love Goldberg. I think he was great in his time. But, and I hate to side with Bret Hart or try to throw shade, but like he just wasn't really careful in terms of professional wrestling. He was a little rough around the edges, 1,010%. And every single time you saw Bill Goldberg get into the match, he just hurt people. Kind of reminded me of like Ronda Rousey when she made it to the WWE. She just hurt people. This wasn't able to, a good match, but even when she got punched, or even when she was supposed to be like, like a downtrodden person, like she kept wanting to get back up. And like, like it's cool, but WWE, yes, it has a lot to do with personality and attitude. But more or less, you gotta play to the story. Gotta play to the story. All right, next we have okay, that's kind of show here. Tony Khan is in Paris for the war. No, this isn't though. No, I kind of read another story and I was like, we'll skip over that one. Tony Khan is in Paris for Warner Brothers Discovery AEW television rights talks. About time. It was it's just about time. 1,010%. It's about time. And then Jim Ross suggests Shane McMahon could bring valuable skills to AEW. Not really, Not really anything crazy. Well, Britt Baker was actually, I think she got suspended. Backstage reaction to MJF and Britt Baker. Heated confrontation. I think she might have got suspended. I don't quote me on that. I'm, kind of reading, some wrestling headlines and stuff like that. So yeah, on a bunch of stuff going around. I got a chat from Chaos Theory, 035. We want Brock back. To be honest, I feel like right now if Brock Lesnar does come back, I feel like it'd be great. I feel like it'd be great. They would have a way better run than as opposed to back. But he honestly, when he had his feud with Cody Rhodes, I thought that was pretty good. I thought that was pretty well booked. And AEW is horrible. You know what? For the longest time I thought the same thing. And I'm not sure if you do watch AEW at all, or if you're willing to give it a chance or anything like that. It's not bad. I think you just have to come with a different perspective. Because I watched AEW at first, kind of with the WWE mindset. And every single time I watched it, I was like, okay, this seems like it's pandering to the crowd way too much. But then as I kept watching AEW, I kind of, much like you saw in WCW, how it's mostly about the stars, their personalities and stuff like that. It's about storylines, so to speak, yes, and promos backstage. But most of the time, it's just, they're going out there getting they're being their own character and stuff like that. They're, introducing their own personalities. That's the reason, so then I kind of fell in love with AEW. I was like, you know what? It's, especially when with Ospreay's in the ring, you watch any of his matches, it's 1,010%. You're in for a good watch. MJF being back, I think is great for AEW. Mercedes Moné is a really good heel. Hated her character as a babyface, but overall, I think AEW is pretty good. I think I know it's too much of a comedy gimmick. Crap. No storylines make sense. When it comes to like the Elite and the EVPs, I kind of feel that way. I kind of do feel like that, and I feel like that kind of sucks for the Young Bucks, to be honest, because they were a great tag team. They introduced AEW with Cody Rhodes and Kenny Omega. And it just seems like, their storylines aren't hitting. That's 1,010% correct. I feel like it's, a lot of stuff like that. With Swerve Strickland, I feel like on the other side, as well as Bryan Danielson. Also, like I mentioned, the whole Don Callis family is a little crazy, to be honest. And then, last night on Dynamite, you had, Hangman Adam Page be a little too cocky. You saw Darby Allin pick up the victory. And that was a little wonky. Yeah, so it's, it is wrestling at the end of the day. It is wrestling, and I know wrestling, come on, we watch wrestling, but it's not, WWE's not too, corny. But I know sometimes it's, to each your own. To each your own, I guess, is the, thing at the end of the day. Well, guys, that's my show. That's it for me. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. And remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the GSMC Sports Network. Remember to leave a positive review here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. And, remember to follow us on Twitter /X, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook for more content and updates. And if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, we have other sports. We have Sam with baseball. We have Tommy with college football, the Chip Shop Football Podcast with Manny Nelson with basketball, Chris Shepard with the GSMC Fantasy Sports. We had the Andrew Tate Show. We also have Kenneth's GSMC Football Podcast, pretty dope. We have my man Emran's Soccer Podcast coming up live in about 8 minutes, so make sure you check that out, especially if you're a soccer fan. So 1,010%. I appreciate Chaos Theory, 035, and everybody who contributed to the chat tonight. 1,010%. Thank you guys so much for being so amazing. Hope you guys have an amazing, safe, lovely weekend. Be blessed. 1,010%. I'll see you guys back here on Monday. So, like always, I love you and stay beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn.